Hanging around after last orders. Still so far from home.
Hi Capricorn, Happy New Year and welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. Before we get into the month, I am so excited to let you know that I'm hosting a workshop here in Amsterdam, the Netherlands on January 25th. Together with Atelier Clay, we'll be hosting a workshop in circle with pottery and astrology, where we get to build a bowl using our hands while having a discussion about the 2025 astrology. I'm so excited to meet some of you there. I hope you can join us. I've left the details down below in the comments. And to reserve your spot, you can send an email using the email address here that you see on the screen. We start off the month on January 3rd with an opposition between Mars and Pluto. This opposition takes place in your 2nd and 8th house, Capricorn. So you see that there might be some power struggles, frustrations, maybe even feelings of being uncomfortable, especially when it comes to your finances, when it comes to any intimate partnerships that you might have, or even with your own self-confidence and self-esteem. During this time, Venus would have just entered the sign of Pisces or your 3rd house, Capricorn. So if you need some help, if you need something to lean on during this opposition, see if you can maybe spend time with siblings or your neighbors, and see if you can spend time focused on communication, focus on how you can maybe write or read or speak or teach. Those could be things that bring you a lot more comfort during this opposition. 3 days later, on January 6th, Mars will retrograde so far back that it leaves your 8th house and enters your 7th house. And you might find that this theme of things with your partnerships feeling a bit frustrating continues. Perhaps your partner is also maybe facing some struggles, having maybe certain things in their life not going through, or things are stalling, taking longer than expected. You might find that happening there. You might also find yourself feeling frustrated, angry with your partnership, but not maybe being able to express it very easily. When we see a Mars going retrograde, we can see a little bit of this tendency to bottle up those uncomfortable feelings. Mars will be retrograde for a while now, until February of 2025. So it's a good chunk of time to be dealing with this, but I promise you it's not forever, and we will see each other on the other side very soon. A couple of days later, on January 12th, we have one of the biggest events of 2025, which is the North and the South Node changing signs. For you, Capricorn, we have the North Node entering Pisces, or your 3rd house, and the South Node entering Virgo, or your 9th house. So for the next 1.5 years, you will be stepping away from the shadow energy of the 9th house, which is being too dogmatic, choosing one belief system, one lifestyle, and not being understanding that others have their own, trying to force yours on others. And moving more towards the positive side of the 3rd house, which is being open, being curious, really exploring your local environment, and not so much having to go far and wide to explore and experience different things. And you might also find the next 1.5 years has a lot more focus on just ingesting a lot of information, being curious, maybe even spending time with your siblings and with your neighbors. But all of that being said, I will do a live very soon dedicated to this nodal shift. So if you want to learn more about it, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss it. The next day, on January 13th, we have a full moon in Cancer in your 7th house. You might especially be feeling this full moon, Capricorn, because it's in a prominent house. And with a full moon, we are basically reaping what we sowed. For you, this is with your relationship. So if you've been showing up authentically there, you will see some good fruits of your labor. And vice versa. If you've been acting from wrong motivations there, you will see some consequences from it. Keep in mind that Mars is still retrograde in your 7th house, and the moon is actually almost conjunct with Mars. So there can be a tendency that if there are any frustrations, any anger coming up during the full moon, that you bottle it up instead of express it. So just be very mindful of that. And we also have Venus squaring Jupiter during the full moon, which can give us a tendency to overindulge, overdo it. And it really makes sense for this full moon. You know, we're feeling a lot of emotions. It's a Cancerian emotional full moon. Mars is making us repress our uncomfortable feelings. And as a result, we might want to indulge in our vices. Chocolate, coffee, drugs, whatever, whatever our vices are. So just be very, very mindful of that and lean on any methods you have to express your feelings in a healthy way. Then we get to a tough 5-day period from the 16th to the 21st. The reason this is a tough 5-day period is because the Sun will be transiting over the same area where we had the Mars-Pluto opposition just a couple of weeks ago. So the Sun will oppose Mars, and then it will enter Aquarius, and as it does that, it will conjunct Pluto. Basically bringing up the same sort of themes we had at the beginning of the month. The power struggles, the frustrations, the feelings of things not going anywhere, things stalling a bit. And keep in mind that maybe you learned something from the Mars and Pluto opposition that you can apply this time, a different way that you want to approach it, different way you want to deal with the situation. I will also add that this time Venus is a bit challenged. Venus in your 3rd house will actually be conjunct Saturn. So while at the beginning of the month you could rely on Venus in your 3rd house to help you a bit, now you might not have that support anymore. You might also find that when you try to communicate, things are just not working, they're not coming across. You might find that any opportunities you had for writing or teaching or speaking are also not going through. So that might also bring even more challenge on top of the already challenging Sun movements through your birth chart. But I promise we do end off on a good note. We end off on January 29th with a new moon in Aquarius in your 2nd house. This signals a new start with your finances. Perhaps you are starting a new approach there, maybe a new job that leads to more money, a new side hustle that leads to more money, maybe a different way of managing your money. And just 2 days later, on the 31st, Uranus will go direct. So already during this new moon, you might find that you're feeling that energy from Uranus, and you might find that you're more likely to do things uniquely when it comes to your finances. You're not as afraid of sticking to what people expect of you. You're not so concerned with doing things so that society approves of the way you do them. So that's already one very beautiful positive for this new moon. And I will add one more thing. Venus has finished its conjunction with Saturn. It's now going towards a beautiful conjunction with Neptune and the North Node in your third house. That will not happen until February, so we will talk about it very, very soon. But still, you're ending off the month with this building up, this beautiful, loving, dreamy energy in your house of communications. So if you're able to do any speaking engagements, any writing, any teaching during this time, you will find that it's just going to flow beautifully and really touch the hearts of others as well. So overall, Capricorn, I hope you're excited for January. There are definitely a couple of difficult days in there, but I know as a Capricorn, you're not afraid of a little bit of hard work. We did see a couple of major themes. We talked about your finances and self-confidence, about your communication. There was a bit on your vulnerability and partnership, intimacy, and then, of course, we talked about this idea of being dogmatic on your belief system as well. So a really nice mix of things to focus on for the month. And of course, if you live in Amsterdam, don't forget, on January 25th, I'm hosting a workshop together with Atelier Clay, where we have a discussion on the 2025 astrology, and we get to build a pottery, a bowl with our own hands. I am so excited to meet all of you. I hope I will see you there. You can register by sending an email to the email address that you see here on screen, or check out more details down below in the comments. Thanks, Capricorn. Happy New Year again, and I hope to see you again soon.